Hi there, you're tuning into Nightline with me, Nadia. Azmi. News making the headlines. Sale of the eye-shaped gummy candy linked to the death of 10-year-old pupil banned. And 3 school categories introduced for education reform. Good morning. 10-year-old Muhammad Fahmi Hafiz Muhammad Fakhruddin, who passed away on Thursday after choking on a gummy candy 4 days ago, was laid to rest on Friday. He was buried at the Masjid Jami' Permatang Binjal Muslim Cemetery in Kepala Batas, Pulau Pinang at 3:20 p.m. The victim's mother, 37-year-old Noraini Muhammad Isa, was overcome with grief as she watched her son being laid to rest. His father, 35-year-old Muhammad Fakhruddin Fikri, and his 4-year-old sister Nufa Fakira were also present at the funeral. Despite their heartbreak, Muhammad Fakhruddin chose not to blame anyone, including the seller of the candy, for the eldest son's passing.
Kita tak boleh salah siapa-siapa. Kita kena katakan benda ni dah tertulis lah.
Earlier, the post-mortem on Muhammad Fahmi's remains conducted at the Forensic Department of the Pulau Pinang Hospital was completed at noon. The hearse carrying his body then arrived at his grandmother's house in Kampung Permatang Binjai at around 2 p.m. More than 200 people attended the final prayers before his remains were taken to the cemetery for burial. The boy died while receiving treatment at the hospital's pediatric intensive care unit at about 11 p.m. on Thursday night. The late Muhammad Fahmi was admitted to the hospital after collapsing at his school in Sungai Dua, Butterworth on Tuesday afternoon. He is believed to have choked on an eye-shaped gummy candy bought outside the school grounds. The sale of the eye-shaped gummy candy linked to the death of Muhammad Fahmi Hafiz has been banned on all online platforms and in the domestic market. An investigation by the Health Ministry, MOH, found that the product violates labelling requirements under the Food Regulations 1985 and the Food Act 1983 as it lacked a warning on choking hazards. In a statement on Friday, the MOH said enforcement measures, including the seizure of the product, will be carried out in accordance with relevant regulations and may involve further action against sellers. This as the law requires controlled jelly confectionery with a diameter of 45 millimeters or less to display a choking hazard warning, especially for children under 3. The ministry also said that it will continue to conduct food safety monitoring and enforcement activities, as well as take preventive measures to avoid similar incidents in the future. The public, especially parents, are also urged to monitor and advise their children to be more cautious when choosing food, particularly those that pose a choking risk. Meanwhile, the Pulau Pinang Health Department is conducting an investigation into the safety of chewy sweets or gummy candies following the fatal choking incident involving the 10-year-old pupil. Further measures will be coordinated at the Health Ministry's headquarters through the Food Safety and Quality Programme. In a statement on Friday, State Youth, Sports and Health Committee Chairman Daniel Gui Zi Isen said preliminary investigations indicated that the candy was believed to have been purchased from a stall near the victim's school. During inspections at Jalan Sungai Dua, Butterworth, an investigation team from the State Health Department discovered gummy original basketball soft candy being sold at one of the premises in the area and seized the product. He added that the department will continue to monitor and enforce food safety regulations to ensure compliance with all safety procedures, as well as implement preventive measures to prevent similar incidents from recurring. In a related development, the Education Ministry, MOE, is stepping up monitoring of small traders and hawkers selling food and snacks outside of school premises. According to the guidelines issued by the Health Ministry and the Housing and Local Government Ministry, hawkers are not permitted to operate within a 40-metre radius of the school fence. Director General of Education Azman Adnan stated that the MOE had previously taken proactive steps to raise awareness among students and parents on purchasing food from appropriate and safe sources. He also clarified that school canteens do not sell snack items such as the gummy candies.
Kita di peringkat sekolah, kita maklum dan kita sentiasa bersama dengan PBT dan juga KKM untuk pastikan perkara ini dipatuhi. Kita tak ada kuasa sebenarnya untuk menutup, mengusir penjaja dan sebagainya. Itu adalah kuasa PBT dan juga Kementerian Kesihatan.
Azman added that the ministry is viewing the matter seriously and working through state education departments and school administrations to implement preventive measures and ensure the incident does not recur. The Bandar Malaysia project will encompass commercial, residential and recreational aspects. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim stated that the strategic plan also includes the construction of 10,000 affordable housing units along with a 20-hectare Malay Reserve land allocation. Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, shared an overview of the iconic project and confirmed that the entire development is expected to span approximately 50 years. He said the Bandar Malaysia project will be developed in a controlled manner to ensure its commercial viability, taking into account the dynamics of the property market's supply and demand. He added that the sale of the 196-hectare plot of land from Bandar Malaysia Sdn Bhd to Petronas subsidiary KLCC Holdings Sdn Bhd was conducted on a willing buyer, willing seller basis, in line with the strategic long-term goals of the project. The Education Ministry MOE has outlined 8 priorities in implementing educational reforms starting with the 2025-2026 school session. This includes introducing 3 categories of schools: focus schools, aspiration schools and inspiration schools, aimed at addressing student dropout issues and enhancing teacher professionalism. Focus schools are institutions where students need extra attention from teachers, closer administrative supervision and full support to improve their academic performance. Aspiration schools are institutions with strong overall performance but where student achievement has stagnated. These schools require additional support from teachers or leadership and targeted reforms to drive further improvement, while inspiration schools are institutions that consistently achieve academic excellence and serve as model schools for best practices.
Saya memberikan satu pendekatan untuk memudahkan semua pengoperasi pendidikan kita, sama ada di KPM, di JPN, di PPD maupun di sekolah, untuk melaksanakan proses reformasi ini dengan berkesan.
The MOE has set out 5 key principles to serve as guidelines to implement the reforms, namely data-driven, resilience, outcome-oriented, strategic direction and resource efficiency. All education stakeholders are also urged to work together to realise the national education reform agenda, ensuring the development of a knowledgeable, ethical and globally competitive generation. The leprosy cases at the Orang Asli settlements in Kuala Pilah, Negeri Sembilan are under control. The Health Ministry, MOH, stated that infected patients are not required to undergo quarantine as effective treatments is available. In a statement on Friday, MOH said the State Health Department is conducting case and contact detection efforts as well as infection prevention and control measures. The ministry also urged individuals experiencing related symptoms to seek treatment at the nearest healthcare facility. As of February 19th, 368 out of 460 residents from Kampong Cirgun and Kampong Guntur have undergone health screenings as part of a targeted effort since July 2024. To date, 9 cases of leprosy have been confirmed, including 1 fatality, an 18-year-old girl from Kampong Cirgun who died on February 17th. MOH also stated that all patients are receiving treatment in accordance with the prescribed guidelines. The public should not be overly concerned about the leprosy cases in Kuala Pilah as the disease is not highly contagious. Although there is a possibility that it has spread to villages neighbouring the affected Orang Asli settlements, public health professional Professor Dr. Sharifah Izzat Wan Puteh believes the outbreak is likely contained within the area.
Even though, this village is quite secluded, surveillance is very important to the nearby areas, and the possibility of a very active transmission is still happening. The incubation period for leprosy is actually very long. It takes long years. It takes sometimes years. So a lot of people may actually have the bacteria but do not present with symptoms. I do not foresee that the outbreak is going to spread more than the local village and probably some nearby villages. I think it's very the contact is very much in that area only.
In Negeri Sembilan, a carpet warehouse was destroyed in a fire on Friday morning. As of 9 p.m, firefighters have managed to control the blaze, but it has yet to be fully extinguished. The State Fire and Rescue Operations Centre said they received a report regarding the incident at 7:49 a.m. The firefighting operation involved several fire stations in Negeri Sembilan with additional support from fire stations in Selangor. Some small fires are reportedly still burning inside the warehouse due to stacks of highly flammable carpet materials. The operation also faces various risks, including structural collapse. The fire produced a thick black smoke which could be seen from more than 5 kilometers away. The State's Department of Environment stated that they will monitor air quality levels in the surrounding area following the incident. No casualties have been reported, while the cause of the fire and the total losses have yet to be determined. Selangor police have shut down a vape liquid processing lab suspected of producing methamphetamine-laced liquid and seized 10 million ringgit worth of illicit substances during a series of raids on several premises in Sri Kembangan. State Police Chief Datuk Hussein Omar Khan said 7 people, including 5 foreigners, were arrested during operations conducted between February 17th and 19th.
Di Selangor, ini yang terbesar. Dalam 3 tahun kebelakangan ini kita tak pernah ada serbuan yang melibatkan vape besar-besaran macam ni. Kita selalu terima maklumat ataupun aduan menyatakan vape yang diambil oleh certain
by authorities, along with 43 containers of chemical substances and equipment used for processing and packaging. The operation was carried out following the arrest of a woman and seizure of vape cartridges suspected to contain drugs in Sri Kembangan on February 17th. This led police to a processing facility also in Sri Kembangan, where 5 foreign men were arrested. 2 days later, a local man believed to be responsible for mixing the vape liquid was nabbed in Puchong. The syndicate had been operating for 6 months and was distributing its products through online platforms. All suspects aged 21 to 37 have been remanded for 5 to 7 days to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. In Selangor, a 19-year-old youth was arrested for allegedly committing sexual assault on a young girl at a mosque in Batangkali on Friday. Police said the suspect will be brought to the Kuala Kubu Baru Magistrates Court on Saturday for remand. The incident was captured on a closed-circuit television CCTV camera and has since gone viral on social media. In the footage, the suspect was seen sneaking into the women's area in the mosque, grabbing the child from behind while she was praying in the back row, then lifting her and taking her away. The man then fled after the victim resisted. A police report on the incident was lodged at 8:19 a.m. The case is being investigated under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act for physical sexual assault on a child. Malaysia's headline inflation remained at 1.7% in January. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, DOSIM, the index points last month stood at 133.6 against 131.4 in January 2024. The rise in inflation was driven by a 3.5% uptick in restaurant and accommodation services and a 3.3% rise in personal care, social protection and miscellaneous goods and services. Additionally, the sectors of recreation, sport and culture saw an increase of 1.8%, while education expenses rose by 1.6%. At the state level, most states recorded inflation below the national level. However, inflation for 4 states were above the national inflation level, namely Pulau Pinang, Selangor, Johor and Pahang.
Targeted subsidies. How can it enhance the well-being of Malaysians? In what ways do targeted subsidies contribute to a stronger national economy? How do targeted subsidies ensure fair assistance reaches those who need it most? Azaria Tagaya speaks with CEO for the Centre of Market Education, Carmelo Felito, only on Money Matters this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
The United States has threatened to impose a 150% tariff on BRICS nations for trying to destroy the US dollar. The warning was made by its President Donald Trump, who also claimed that the BRICS nations are no longer active.
Any BRIC state that even mentions the destruction of the dollar will be charged a 150% tariff. And we don't want your goods, we don't want to partake. And the BRIC states just broke up. I don't know what the hell happened to them. We haven't heard from the BRIC states lately.
On February 13th, Trump said he would impose a 100% tariff on imports from BRICS nations if they establish their own currency or abandon the US dollar. He added that the United States would cease international trade with any country that took such steps. Meanwhile, Trump's threat to impose a 150% tariff on BRICS nations should not be taken at face value. However, economist Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid believes that the announcement should not raise alarm bells and that Malaysia's free trade agreements, FTAs, with other countries can ensure that its economy thrives either way.
I think President Trump has always been mentioning about import tariff as their policy instruments to gain better leverage and to expect more companies in the US to open up more production hubs in their own shores. I think it's none other than to have more FTAs, more bilateral and multilateral free trade agreements, and in order to have better collaborations with other countries, whether in ASEAN, in Europe. And I think we have done that. We have signed with the FTAs with UK, UAE, and we have actually restarted to renegotiate with the FTA with EU's countries.
Kuching fight back to salvage a draw. Actions from the Super League after this breather.
Siapa sangka pasca pandemik telah mengembangkan lagi penggunaan private cabin di sektor pelancongan di Malaysia.
Bukan sahaja orang buat sebagai rumah, chalet, homestay, tapi ada jugalah yang buat sebagai klinik.
Teknologi ini boleh diterapkan dalam silibus pembelajaran kemahiran.
Majalah 3 Kapsul, Sabtu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kekal cakna, kekal sihat. Hello Doktor merungkai pelbagai persoalan kesihatan anda.
Penyakit kronik, pemakanan, kesihatan mental, semuanya demi kesejahteraan anda.
Setiap minggu bersama tenaga pakar kesihatan terbaik Malaysia, segalanya terjawab dalam Hello Doktor setiap Ahad
5.30 petang di TV3
dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Hai guys, kami
Duke. Hai gadisku Laila, saat malam menguling tenamu.
At first they were a bit skeptical.
I think it's nice that the name is like a blank state. Dia macam encapsulate our journey juga.
Dari kecil memang saya nak jadi musician lah.
Puas sudah ku mencuba.
Jangan lupa untuk saksikan kami di Tonton
Soundstage Music.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
We're back with sports. The Super League. 2 matches took place on Friday night. Kuala Lumpur City FC scored late in the game to salvage a 1-1 draw with Sabah FC, while Terengganu FC were held to a 2-2 draw by Kuching City FC at home. At the Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium, the hosts wasted no time, taking the lead in the 8th minute through Manny Ott, before Ismail Akinade doubled their advantage 14 minutes into the second half. Stunned, the visitors pulled one back when Jordan Minta slaughtered home in the 64th minute, before Petrus Chitambi drew level a minute later, salvaging a point for his team. With the result, Terengganu remain at 4th place with 28 points, while Kuching City sit in 5th with 24 points. Still on football, the Brazilian Paulista Championship. Palmeiras came from behind to clinch a remarkable 3-1 home win against Botafogo on Thursday. Botafogo went ahead after 25 minutes when Alexander Jesus rifled the ball into the top corner. However, the visitors' advantage lasted just 4 minutes as Estevão Willian levelled the contest with a delightful chip over the goalkeeper. Facundo Torres then put the hosts ahead in the 76th minute off the corner, before Luigi Henry's well-taken volley 9 minutes later sealed the 3-1 comeback win for Palmeiras. Palmeiras are now on a 7-match unbeaten run with 20 points from 11 matches, while Botafogo suffered their 4th loss. Moving on to tennis now, the 2025 Qatar Open. Yuri Lehechka continues his impressive start to the season by claiming the first top 3 win of his career with a shock victory over Carlos Alcaraz on Thursday. In a high-quality encounter, Lehechka struck 8 aces and converted 4 of 8 break chances to secure a 6-3, 3-6, 6-4 win against the world number 3 Spaniard. Awaiting the check in the semi-finals will be 8-seeded Jack Draper of Great Britain, who rallied past Italy's Matteo Berrettini 4-6, 6-4, 6-3. Also advancing to the semi-finals was 5-seeded Andrei Rublev of Russia, who had to dig deep for a dramatic 6-1, 3-6, 7-6 triumph over Australian Alex de Minaur. The world number 10 will next face Felix Auger-Aliassime, who reached the last 4 after Daniil Medvedev was forced to retire from the quarter-final clash due to food poisoning. Netanyahu accused of delaying second phase of Gaza ceasefire. The details when Nightline returns.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headlines.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Siapa sangka pasca pandemik telah mengembangkan lagi penggunaan private cabin di sektor pelancongan di Malaysia.
Bukan sahaja orang buat sebagai rumah, chalet, homestay, tapi ada jugalah yang buat sebagai klinik.
Teknologi ini boleh diterapkan dalam silibus pembelajaran kemahiran.
Majalah 3 Kapsul, Sabtu 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Mempertaruhkan nyawa demi keadilan. Setiap langkah penyamaran penuh risiko.
Ini bukan tugas mudah tau. Orang kita pun masih tengah buat uncover. Yang penting misi ini mesti berjaya walau dalam keadaan apa sekalipun.
Unit Gerak Khas kini kembali dengan misi yang lebih mencabar.
Siapa yang jadi hantu polis? Siapa yang pecah rahsia ni?
Kita belum boleh buat apa-apa tanggapan ni.
Gerak Khas Undercover setiap Ahad 11.30 pagi di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Perjalanan yang penuh dengan cabaran, usaha dan dedikasi, kini semuanya membawa kepada detik ini. Hidup mereka telah berubah di episode One in a Million. Tahniah kepada juara musim terbaru episode One in a Million. Dan ini adalah permulaan perjalanan sebutir bintang yang sebenar. Saksikan semula momen hebat pentas finale episode One in a Million di aplikasi Tonton sekarang.
Welcome back. At least 12 university students were killed and 21 others injured in a collision between a bus and a truck in Brazil's southeastern state of Sao Paulo. Authorities on Friday said all of the deceased were students from the University of Franca and the injured were taken to hospitals in the region. According to State Governor Tarcísio Freitas, the students were returning home from the university when the accident occurred late Thursday night on a highway near Napuranga. It was reported that the truck driver, who was also injured, tried to flee the scene of the crash but was caught and hospitalized. He was later charged with attempting to flee the scene, involuntary homicide and bodily harm. China's military said it drove away 3 Philippines aircraft illegally flying over the disputed Spratly Islands, marking the second aerial incident this week involving Beijing and Manila in the South China Sea. The Chinese People's Liberation Army Southern Theatre Command said the military chased away 2 small Cessna 208 planes and a light N-22 aircraft on Thursday. It said the aircraft had acted provocatively in a bid to assert the Philippines' illegal claims over the small archipelago. Manila has yet to react to claims made by Beijing over the latest incident. The incident follows an earlier close encounter on Tuesday when a Chinese military helicopter flew within 3 meters of a Philippines patrol plane flying over the Scarborough Shoal. Talks related to the second phase of the Gaza truce deal have not yet started with Israel, with Hamas spokesperson Abdul Latif Al-Qanu accusing Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu of deliberately stalling the implementation of the second phase of the ceasefire agreement. He added that Hamas is ready to take part in the negotiations on the basis of the initial agreement and is still waiting for Israel to implement all provisions of the humanitarian protocol related to the ceasefire, while repeating the group's readiness to fully execute the agreement in all its phases. Israel has been accused of stalling the entry of most of the temporary shelters, such as mobile homes and tents, as well as heavy machinery into Gaza, which forms part of the first phase of the ceasefire deal it agreed with Hamas. That concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at the 14th Sharjah Light Festival in Sharjah, United Arab Emirates, where visitors can experience a dazzling display of innovative technology and cultural heritage coming together in a spectacular visual celebration. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for watching and stay safe.